The frustration that Jimmy displayed. Cornpop. I'm not going to read the rest of it. Without me, that's
Behold, pale horse. I'd pay $5 to see Jimmy Dore body slam a disagreeable guest. Just saying. LOL.
What the fuck?
So you remember that pager attack? Remember Israel had all those pagers blow up in Lebanon? They said it was only Hezbollah, but that's we said that's the classic, because that's classic terrorism, right? Guess who agrees with it? The ex-CIA director. So Jimmy, why do you listen to a CIA director? They're all liars. Well, when they tell a truth that goes against their, that's when you can believe them. Former CIA director Leon Panetta calls Israel's explosive pager operation terrorism. Here he was. He's doing an interview on CBS. Here, want to hear it? Here it is.
Ability to be able to place an explosive in technology that is very prevalent these days, and turn it into a war of terror, really, a war of terror. This is something new.
Is it terrorism?
I don't think there's any question that it's a form of terrorism. This has gone right into the supply chain, right into the supply chain. And when you have terror going into the supply chain, it makes people ask the question, what the hell is next?
It sounds like you're genuinely worried.
I am. This is a tactic that has repercussions. And we really don't know what those repercussions are going to be. The forces of war are largely in control right now of what's going on.
Do you think there should be condemnation for it? Should other nations step in, including us?
I think it's going to be very important for the nations of the world to have a serious discussion about whether or not this isn't an area that everybody has to focus on, because if they don't try to deal with it now, mark my word, it is the battlefield of the future.
And so what Arnaud Bertrand says, he says, wow, even former CIA director Leon Panetta agrees that Israel's attack on Lebanon is terrorism. And why can you believe this? Because they always side with Israel. So the fact that they would break shows you how much of terrorism it actually was. Really contextualizes everyone who defended or even praised the attacks. You're literally less ethical than the CIA. So the people who were gleeful about those terrorism attacks via pagers, you're literally less ethical than the CIA. That's such a great point. Such a great point. Here's the UN human rights chief. He declares the attack a war crime, violating the prohibition on booby traps and an act designed to spread terror. So here, let's watch.
I'm appalled by the breadth and impact of the attacks on 17 and 18 September in Lebanon on civilians, where the explosion of pagers, two-way radios, and other electronic devices have reportedly killed at least 37 people, including 2 children, and injured more than 3,400 people in Lebanon alone, leaving many with permanent disabilities and healthcare facilities struggling to cope with the magnitude of the impact on people. International humanitarian law prohibits the use of booby trap devices in the form of apparently harmless portable objects which are specifically designed and constructed to contain explosive material. It is a war crime to commit violence intended to spread terror among civilians. I call again for an independent, thorough, and transparent investigation into the circumstances of these explosions. Those who ordered and carried out these attacks must be held to account.
Here's what Scott Ritter says.
This is not an act of war. This is an act of terrorism, state-sponsored terrorism. It's a criminal action. It's an action that the United States government would never authorize its intelligence services or military forces to undertake because of the indiscriminate nature of this attack. No military force, no military professional force would ever undertake something like this because you can't control the outcome. You're not in control of the outcome. It's very arbitrary. It's not as targeted as maybe the media is making it out to be. So it's an act of terrorism. Israel believes that it is engaged in a war against a terrorist entity. That's what it calls Hezbollah, and that the rules don't apply. But that's not the case. Hezbollah is a political party. It's not just a resistance movement. It's not just a militia. It's a political party. It is part of the Lebanese government. So the Israeli intelligence service carried out an act of terrorism that targeted not just the Lebanese civilians, but the Lebanese government. And this has to be condemned around the world. I am hopeful that nations will rally to the cause of legality and call out Israel for this gross use of terrorism to achieve an objective which they're not going to achieve. What was the purpose of this? To disrupt? Yes, it's a temporary disruption. To terrorize? Of course, there is that. But Hezbollah and Lebanon will adapt. They will adjust. They will emerge. And all Israel has done is further solidify its reputation in the international community as a terrorist entity. And this is the ultimate outcome here. This is where Israel loses. They suffered a superficial victory. But in the weeks and months to come, this will only come back to haunt Israel because the world will see this as it is, an act of terrorism.
Well, I certainly hope he's right that it's going to come back to haunt them. But we'll see. So I just wanted to play this for you in case you were on the fence about, hey, is this an act of terrorism? Even if you're cool with that, if you're cool with what they're doing, you're cool with terrorism. And you are less ethical than the CIA. So wouldn't it be great if the UN actually had some kind of power to do something? What an almost complete waste of time the UN is. I mean, maybe somebody knows more about the UN than me and can tell me some good things they've gotten done, but I don't know. Okay, over to Steph.
All right, Jimmy, thank you so much. Somebody was like, why do you keep stopping the stories and going to the chats? Just to give me camera time. That's really, right. It's just, I'm desperate for camera time. That's just how the show rolls, fatty fats. That's just how it works out. And as I'm reading the chats, Jimmy's snorting cocaine. Misha is doing a cocktail, shaking a cocktail over here. And somebody actually asked, and I'll find it in a little bit. They want to know, when is Misha going to do another sketch? Very soon. We're very excited about it. I'm very excited about it. So soon. Hey, Musk should just buy Brazil. What? Peter, I think you're onto something. I really think so, Peter. Nice work on that one, kiddo. And, it was from Slapnuts. Slapnuts wanted to know when Misha was going to do another one of her parody skits. She's doing it soon, girls. Are you serious? Said breaking Secret Service agent accidentally shoots himself while on duty. Are you serious? Thank you. Jimmy needs to hold spaces. I got shut down for saying Zelensky is accused of being a Nazi, and Shapiro, a Jew, signed bombs for optics. All right, Joybird. I got confused on that one. It's probably the way I read it. Which date is Jimmy speaking at the People versus Nature at La Mama in New York? I'd like to book it.
I'm not.
He's not, EJ. Imagine. La Mama. Yeah, but that would be a great event. Thank you for that. All right. Imagine if the CIA killed our president and took over that government forever. Imagine that. And that's from Jokers for You. Thank you, Jokers for You. Benino. Thank you, Benino, for your generosity. Let's see here. Slain Hope. I forget who, but someone said they were told if you want to become president, you have to kiss the ring of a certain group. I now think that group is Israel. Love the show. Look at you, Michael. Love right back, Miguelito. James Bond, Tomorrow Never Dies, was warning about guys like Gates, Musk, Bezos, and mind control back when that kind of thing was allowed in movies. Brendan. That's the problem when someone is motivated by self-aggrandizement, not commitment to values. You can't count on them. SS. George says, I don't think so. Trump delegates. RFK Jr. might be our Cheney. He sent power over to the governors during COVID. The opposite of a dictator. We have been lied to so much about him, George. You know, George, it was Kevin. Thank you, Kevin DeBella. Thank you for your generosity of spirit. Much appreciated. Love and kisses. Please bring on Ahmed Caballo from African Stream. Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram banned him after Blinken said his channel was controlled by Russia. All right. Let me see what I can do. I'll bring it up in our next meeting. Thank you, Shima.
Didn't we cover that story?
Ahmed Caballo from African Stream.
I thought. Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, I don't think we did cover that.
I don't think so.
I tweeted about it. Okay, yeah, I want to cover that.
Okay, look at you. Look at you, Chima. Emoji, duh. Look at you. I don't even know what that duh was, but it was all in caps. I hope I gave it what you needed. Trump already threw RFK aside once for Pfizer, SS says. Looking forward to your Ready to Rumble show. Perhaps Kirk could convince Kyle Dunnigan to pay it a visit as Bill Maher. That would be very funny. Thank you, Happy Donut Farts. Catchy handle, by the way. Technology is a Trojan horse. Oh, my God. I have to tell you right now, SS, I don't think there's, it could be generational, but I like a gas-guzzling car. I'm not too keen in plugging in my car and charging it up and being able to drive only 250 miles until I can charge it again. And I never got to do the story. And maybe I will do it. I don't think I ever did that story that Dana recommended. And it was the one about the NPR woman. She went on a drive to talk about, she's driving her electric car. And she was driving it, and she's NPR doing a story about driving cross country in an electric car. But unfortunately, when there was a gas car in front of her that would get to the charging stations to get her a spot so she could charge her vehicle. Yeah, I think I need to do that story. That was such a, that's not going anywhere. Good news. The Irish government dropped the Orwellian hate speech bill for now. At least the EU and the other testing ground countries are very upset. Gavin, I read that one before. Gavin, I read it again because it's such an important element. Okay, let's see here. Oh, you know what it's doing to me right now when I refreshed? It wanted me to now enter my password. Yeah, that's really. And how many passwords do you have? I have about 50. Makes it life. I like to keep guessing on all my passwords. It's really making life fun. Okay, here we go. Somebody else is outraged that I'm taking this long to read. Jimmy, you blue-eyed devil, you coming with peace and reason like the Americans would understand such weak sentiment. Look at you, KK. I like that. Okay, back to Jimmy.
Dude, Tyler, it is good to see you, my brother.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical brace, soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running this system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just move babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.